Revealed, my son's bride's shocking request to pay $50,000 for their wedding, a life-changing turn. John sat in his cluttered auto repair shop, grease-stained hands cradling a coffee mug as he stared blankly at the chipped walls adorned with faded photographs of family memories. With his son Ethan's wedding to Claire coming up in just a few weeks, he felt a mix of pride and anxiety. Each day was a familiar rhythm of hard work and devotion to providing for his son, but the wedding should be a celebration, right? Instead, it felt like a storm brewing. Then, bam! The shock of Claire's request hit him like a wrecking ball. $50,000, she had announced, eyes bright with excitement, expectations soaring. It'll be the wedding of the century. What should have been a simple conversation turned into a whirlwind of contemplation. John's heart raced as indignation bubbled up. He was just a devoted father trying to carve out a life for his son. This amount wasn't just a number, it threatened to swallow their savings whole. His thoughts churned as the news rippled through their tight-knit suburban community. Friends and family rallied around, emotions running hot. What makes a wedding truly meaningful, some argued. To John, it was the love and commitment that mattered, but the pressure to conform grew heavier. The whispers of making it big, in a world where appearances ruled, haunted him. In the midst of it all, the weight of socioeconomic disparity felt crushing, and he couldn't help but worry how Ethan would see them less worthy if they couldn't meet Claire's expectations. Just then, a flyer caught John's eye. A local veterans' home was on the brink of closing for good. A loving institution, many community members had their parents and grandparents live there. John's heart sank deeper. Here were people who sacrificed for their country, now facing uncertainty, and all he could think about was how to ask for money that would uproot his family's modest comfort. In a moment of desperation, John floated an idea to Ethan. What if they simplified everything? A wedding that highlighted love, creativity, and community support. The excitement matched by uncertainty filled the air when he pitched the idea. Could it persuade Claire's family? They expected grandeur, after all. Things got even more tangled when Ethan stepped forward to voice his own concerns. "Dad, are we really okay with this?" he asked, emotion thick in his voice. "It's just money. Shouldn't our celebration reflect who we are?" As John stood at a crossroads, immersed in family expectations and social norms, the stakes grew higher with every passing day. Could a simple wedding filled with heartfelt authenticity be enough to transcend the societal pressures they faced? He gazed out at the busy street, the community bustling as the task of facing an uncertain future awaited him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the fateful family meeting approached, John felt like he was teetering on the edge of a cliff, each heartbeat echoing the mantra, tradition or change? Will they unite to celebrate love, or fracture under the weight of societal expectations? His heart raced, and uncertainty twisted his insides as the clock ticked down. Could they rise above the challenges, embrace the real meaning of family and love? The answer lingered in the air, unresolved, as the moment of truth awaited them. The family meeting loomed over John like a dark cloud. That evening, he arranged the chairs around the dining table, wiping the surface clean while reminders of their simpler life lingered in the air. The scent of burnt toast hung faintly, a product of his earlier attempt to prepare something special. But what could he offer as a meal that would match the heaviness of the decision waiting just hours away? Ethan arrived first, his shoulders tense, the usual youthful brightness dimmed by worry. "Dad, do you really think they'll listen?" he asked, running a hand through his hair. John nodded, trying to project confidence he didn't quite feel. "We can at least voice our thoughts. This is our life too, after all." Yet deep down, he knew Claire's family held significant power in this situation. They had wealth, status, and expectations, everything John felt unprepared to confront. With each passing minute, the anxiety in the room thickened. When Claire finally arrived, bubble of enthusiasm bursting forth, John's heart raced again. She brought a whirlwind of energy, linking arms with Ethan, her laughter rising above the plainness of their diner-style table. "Okay, everyone, let us get started." Claire beamed, a bright contrast to John's brooding demeanor. "Claire," John began, hesitant yet resolute, "we need to talk about the wedding, about the costs." Claire's eyes flickered, a hint of confusion shadowing her excitement. "It's only money, John. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We want it to be perfect." "Perfect doesn't always mean expensive," Ethan interjected, his voice steadier than before. "What if we created something meaningful, together with our family and friends?" A contemplative silence fell over the room, Claire's smile faltering slightly. "Are you saying my parents wouldn't understand?" "It's not about them understanding. It's about what we value," John said, heart pounding in his chest. "Weddings are supposed to reflect love, celebrate our journey. A simple ceremony could do just that." Claire frowned, crossing her arms. "You want us to give up on everything we've discussed? On creating special memories?" John understood her perspective. After all, both sides craved warmth and connection. But he worried how the expectations would dig into the very fabric of who they were. "We can create memories without breaking the bank. Look at the veterans' home. They need support, and we have a chance to give back while celebrating." The room buzzed with tension. Anger and uncertainty intertwined as Claire's facade began to crack. "Why do you keep bringing them up? This is about our wedding. It's about more than just you two. This is our chance to unite the community, to show what true love means." John's passion surged, and the enormity of the moment swept over him. Finally, Claire's eyes filled with tears, reflecting a thoughtful mix of deep emotion and frustration. "Dad, I don't know if I can lower my expectations." As the air thickened with tears and unspoken words, John felt that window of possibility flutter open. What if their wedding could usher in a real change? But at what cost? The discussion erupted into conflicting thoughts, raising questions that lingered long after each voice fell silent. Would they truly find a way to meet in the middle? As the night wore on, a tranquil yet tumultuous silence replaced their heated words, each person lost in thought, wondering if they could indeed transform their dream into reality. Would they redefine what a wedding could symbolize? With all eyes now on him, John took a deep breath, preparing to reveal a proposal he believed could unite them, a combination of love, authenticity, and compassion. Could he articulate his vision before it slipped away, leaving behind just echoes of what might have been? As he opened his mouth to speak, the atmosphere shifted again. A new revelation lingered just out of reach. John felt the weight of the moment pin him to the floor. He took another deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage he had. "Claire," he started again, his voice steadier now, "what if we inspired something better? Instead of paying all that money for a lavish wedding, why don't we do something for others? Something that speaks to who we are?" Claire's defenses seemed to rise immediately, her arms wrapping tighter around herself as if she could shield her heart from his words. "But this is about us, Dad. Our special day," she defended, her voice almost a whisper. Ethan leaned forward, his youthful energy returning, though it carried the weight of maturity he hadn't possessed just moments ago. "It can still be about us. Just because it wouldn't be big in scale doesn't mean it wouldn't be special. What if we invited everyone to contribute to the veterans' home? A donation instead of gifts?" His suggestion hung there, a lifeline thrown into stormy waters. The room was still. All four pairs of eyes shifted to Claire, who bit her lip, fighting against a swell of tears. "You think we can just change the whole plan because of a few ideas?" "It's not just a few ideas. It's a chance to do something impactful," John said gently, desperately trying to reach her. "We talk about wanting a future that matters. Here's our chance. We can show love in a way that transcends our celebration." Tears spilled over now, and Claire wiped them angrily with the back of her hand. "But you're asking me to give up everything I've dreamed about. It feels like all of those dreams are collapsing because of some charity project." John's heart sank. He wanted to reach out to comfort her, but the space between them felt insurmountable, filled with unfulfilled expectations. I get it, I do. It's tough. But maybe what we need to think about is, what memory do we want to leave behind? What do you want, Claire? Ethan's voice broke through. What do you truly want on that day? Is it the flowers and the venue, or is it the people, our loved ones gathered with us? The use of our seemed to sink into Claire like a warm blanket, offering her a sense of connection amidst the chaos. I want to celebrate with everyone. But... She hesitated, looking more vulnerable than John had ever seen her. I want it to feel magical. A quiet moment passed, the air thick with unspoken words. John knew magic didn't have to be grand. It could be found in the simplest of moments, in laughter shared, in hands held together. He thought of how his own parents celebrated their vows with close friends against a backdrop of nothing more than the open sky. Magic can be created anywhere, John offered gently. Imagine a ceremony under the stars, surrounded by the community we love, who also share our passion for helping others. We can create memories by giving back. Finally, Claire's breath hitched, a glimmer of realization breaking through. What if we combined a small wedding with a large gathering for donations? Her voice wavered, hope mingled with vulnerability. That's it. Ethan exclaimed, a spark ignited. It can be a celebration of love and service, redefining what matters most. Together, we can show everyone what it means to truly love. A hint of a smile broke across Claire's face, and for the first time that night, John felt a spark of hope. As they continued to explore this new idea, John felt the shadows that had loomed over them start to lift, even if just a bit. But just as clarity began to settle over the room, Claire's phone buzzed on the table, disrupting the moment. She looked at it, her expression shifting back to concern. It's my mom. She can't hear about this just yet. Then we need to prepare, John stated, determination rising within him. We need to be ready to stand our ground for us and for everyone we love. A silent promise hung in the air, they would fight for their vision. But John couldn't shake the feeling that outside pressures lurked, waiting to pounce. As Claire read her mother's message, anxiety twisted through him once again. What if the time for their perfect wedding plans was slipping away? Would their newfound resolve be enough against the storm that was sure to come? A knot tightened in John's stomach as he watched Claire's face transform from hope to dread. Dad, she wants to talk, Claire said, her voice just a whisper, filled with trepidation. The very idea of her mother, a whirlwind of tradition and expectations, tearing apart their fragile plan, struck fear into John's heart. Let us take a breath, Ethan said, glancing from Claire to John, trying to anchor the moment. His youthful optimism had been a light in the gloom, and now he needed to keep that spark alive. What's the worst that can happen? It's just a conversation. A conversation with my mom? Claire replied, her eyes wide with disbelief. You have no idea how this will go. Before John could reassure her, the phone buzzed again, this time with a string of messages from Claire's mother. The look on Claire's face told him all he needed to know. We need to decide what we're willing to sacrifice here, John said, shifting his tone to challenge the rising tide of anxiety. If we believe in this, we have to stand together. Right? Ethan nodded vigorously, standing with them, a pact sealed by determination and love. All right, Claire said, her chin lifting ever so slightly. If I'm going to talk to her, I need to know what to say. How do we make her understand? John stepped closer, wanting to bridge the distance that still felt present. Let us focus on the magic. He found himself warming to the idea. We talk about our dream wedding encompassing everyone. Share that vision. Highlight how much more significant this will be if it's done together, for something meaningful. It's not just about flowers or a venue, it's about love and community. Claire took a deep breath, visibly absorbing his words. What if I tell her that love isn't just about the day itself? It's about the lives we touch before and after it. That's it. Ethan exclaimed once more. His excitement was contagious. You can show her that by extending the celebration beyond just the event. Make her see how the impact can resonate. They brainstormed, building on the concept. They draft a plan outlining how the donations would really benefit individuals in need, how their day could ripple out into the community. Claire's mother loved a good mission, perhaps she'd appreciate the change for the greater good. As Claire stood, pulling her shoulders back, John could see the flickering light of determination shining through her initial worries. "I want to send her a message before we call," she said, her voice now firm. "I'll let her know what we're thinking. Create a dialogue instead of a confrontation." "Perfect," John encouraged. They all sat, huddling over Claire's phone, piecing together exactly what they wanted to communicate. Claire's fingers hovered over the screen, but as time slipped by, John's phone buzzed too. It was an email, one they all had been dreading but knew they had to face. With a sinking feeling, he glanced at the subject line. "It's from the wedding planner." Without thinking, he opened the message. Almost instantly, his excitement deflated as he read the details. "She's asking for a deposit, or our date gets revoked." The air grew thick. The weight of expectations bore down, compounded by the reality of their decisions. "We can't let this go," John said, his heart racing. "We need to act fast. If we don't, then what is the point of everything we're trying to create?" Claire interrupted, her voice rising. The fire of her passion ignited, cutting through the tension that gripped them. They looked at one another, realizing this moment was pivotal. Claire's mom, the planner, all of it became part of the storm they needed to navigate. Just as determination surged within them, Claire's phone buzzed again, pulling her attention right back to her messages. "Mom wants me to call her now. Are you ready?" John asked quietly, knowing this was their moment of truth. She opened her mouth, hesitation flickering across her face. But before she answered, the question hung heavy in the air. What if the call changed everything? A phone call that could either draw them closer together or shatter their fragile plan entirely? Claire's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at her phone, cleaving to her breath like a lifeline. The moment stretched infinitely. I'm not sure," she whispered, biting her lip. There was so much on the line. "Take your time," John offered, giving her the space she needed while still anchoring her in his presence. His hand gently clasped her shoulder, steadying her like a rock amidst rushing waters. "Maybe your mom just wants to understand," Ethan added, his youthful enthusiasm bubbling beneath the surface. "Just think about all the things we talked about, the bigger picture. You can steer the conversation." With a shaky exhale, Claire took a step towards boldness. "Okay. I'll do it." She tapped on the green icon, the call connecting with a single chime that resonated through the room. "Hello?" Claire's mother answered, her voice an iconic blend of authority and warmth. "Claire. I've been waiting to hear from you." "Hi, Mom," Claire said as she struggled to keep her voice steady. "I just got your messages." A silence fell, heavy and thick as if the world held its breath. "I worry about you, sweetheart. I want to make sure you're doing the right thing. Is it true you're planning something unconventional?" "This wedding isn't just about us, Mom," Claire replied, finding the courage to speak her truth. "It's an opportunity for us to give back, to bring our friends and family together for something that matters." From the corner, John and Ethan exchanged looks of support and hope, their expressions filled with faith in her bravery. "Something that matters?" Claire's mother echoed, skepticism lacing her tone. "How exactly do you plan to do that?" "I had visions for your wedding since you were little, Claire. This isn't how it's supposed to go." A lump formed in Claire's throat, but she pushed through it. "Mom, those visions can still exist in our plans. We want to create a day that celebrates love, but we also want to create a ripple effect in our community." "What do you mean?" Her mother's voice shifted slightly, curiosity beginning to break through the hesitation. Claire inhaled deeply, sensing the tiniest shift in tone. "We want to let our guests contribute towards causes they care about. It'll be this beautiful cycle of giving, instead of spending a fortune on things that won't last. We can turn our wedding into hope for others." Silence swallowed the distance between them, hanging there like a taut string. "That's an interesting idea." Claire's mother finally responded, her voice softer. But what do you really think people will feel? I think people will feel inspired, Claire said confidently. This isn't just a party. It's a movement. A chance for people to remember what really counts. More soft silence followed, and Claire could sense her mother weighing the words against her traditions and expectations. It's a big shift, she said slowly. Are you sure you're ready for the backlash? Backlash? Ethan whispered, his instinct of encouragement slipping through the raw tension in the air. But Claire could only focus on her mother. I know it won't be easy, but we're prepared to face whatever comes our way. Together. For a moment, she wondered if that very conviction was lingering on her mother's lips too. I appreciate you sharing this, it gives me something to think about, her mother finally said, the softer timbre holding a hint of contemplation. But I want you to consider, what if I can't support this? Her heart dropped. Despite all the planning, could they really be ready for such a possibility? Mom, if you can't support this vision, it would hurt. But we have to prioritize what feels true to us, Claire ventured carefully. We need you, but we can't compromise who we are. I'll think about it, her mother replied, but the weight of uncertainty hung unspoken between them, heavy and unresolved. It felt like progress yet stagnation all at once. As the call ended, Claire's eyes met John's and Ethan's, each reflecting a mixture of hope and uncertainty. The conversation had sparked something, but it also revealed the work still ahead of them. What happens now? John asked, his voice indicative of the charged atmosphere. We wait, Claire said, a knot still twisting in her gut. But maybe, just maybe, we start planning for the worst-case scenario too. The resolve settled in the room, palpable and firm. As they gathered their thoughts, Claire couldn't shake the feeling a storm was brewing just beyond the horizon. What awaited them on the other side of this conversation? The days that followed were like an uneasy calm before a storm. Claire poured herself into planning. She and John began drafting ideas for the wedding, trying to keep the mood light while the fear nagged at her. Ethan helped with the logistics, mapping out potential themes and charitable organizations they could connect with. But Claire's mind kept drifting back to her mother's hesitation and the chilling weight of that unresolved conversation. Okay, John said one afternoon in the living room, snapping Claire back to reality. What about a nature theme? You love the outdoors. Claire smiled weakly. She loved nature, but the thought of flowers and color palettes felt nearly trivial when the meaning behind the wedding loomed so large. I think it just needs to feel real, disconnected from tradition, but connected to each other. Ethan, scribbling ideas on a notepad, looked up. What if you used recycled materials for the decor? He suggested, his voice eager. It's sustainable and can even tie into your theme of community and giving back. Claire nodded, appreciating her friend's enthusiasm. She often marveled at their openness and support, yet somewhere inside, doubt took root. What if the backlash they had discussed became a reality? What if this wedding didn't just bring people together but also tore them apart? As the week rolled on, Claire decided to visit a local charity she hoped to involve in the wedding. She wanted to see firsthand the work they did, to feel the pulse of the community they supported. Arriving at the bright blue building, her heart ached with anticipation and nerves. The organizers greeted her with kindness, explaining their mission to empower underprivileged youth through education and life skills. Their passion ignited something within Claire, offering her hope. Perhaps her mother would understand if she really saw the impact, but when she returned home, there was a message waiting on her phone. It was her mother, asking to meet. The knot in Claire's stomach tightened. This wasn't a casual lunch. This was an invitation to confront her fears. Do you think she's finally ready to talk? Ethan asked, looking up from the couch where he sprawled out with a snack in hand. I hope so, Claire replied, but her words were laced with uncertainty. Or maybe she just wants to tell me how crazy this all is in person. John shot her a reassuring glance. It's a step, Claire. Remember, all those feelings of hurt she mentioned, it's a starting point. You're not alone in this. They mentioned meeting at a cafe, a neutral ground. As Claire drove there, her heartbeat echoed in her mind, each thud a reminder of the delicate balance at play. Would her mother still view her plans through the lens of tradition? Or had the idea of a new vision begun to seep in, to challenge years of expectation? Sitting at a small round table, with sunlight filtering through the window, Claire saw her mother arrive. The unease settled deep in her bones. Each step her mother took felt monumental. Instead of her usual polished elegance, her mother wore a worried expression. Claire barely blinked as they hugged, absorbing the weight that hung heavily between them. "Thank you for meeting with me," her mother said softly, sitting down. "I just want to understand where you're coming from," Claire replied, forcing courage to navigate the storm brewing in her heart. But her mother's next words were unexpected. "I've been thinking about your vision for this wedding." Claire's breath caught, recognizing that this conversation could change everything. Did repairing their bond still feel possible? With her heart pounding, she prepared for what would come next, her mother's potential acceptance or rejection of a dream that could change their futures forever. The air felt electric as Claire sensed the moment shifting. What revelation was about to unfold? Claire's heart raced. Her mother leaned back slightly, folding her hands in front of her, the sunlight catching the worry lines on her forehead. "I was taken aback at first, you know that. But I realize I've been holding on to the past, and maybe it's time to embrace the future." "What do you mean?" Claire's voice barely rose above a whisper, fear and hope warring within her. Her mother's eyes softened, and for a moment, Claire caught a glimpse of the mother she once knew, the one who had cherished her dreams. "I've seen how much this means to you, how passionate you are about making a difference through this wedding. I just want it to be real," Claire said, her voice steadier now. "I want it to reflect who we are, not who we're expected to be." Her mother nodded slowly. "I understand that now. Just creating a beautiful day isn't enough anymore. You want purpose." Claire felt a swell of warmth and something close to disbelief. Could this truly be the breakthrough she'd longed for? Her mother's acknowledgement was a lifeline to the dreams she had nearly shelved. "I scheduled meetings with the charity," Claire blurted, eager to share her vision. "They work with kids, teaching them skills. They help change lives." "That sounds wonderful," her mother replied, her voice steady but edged with curiosity. "I'd love to learn more." Moments began to pass as they spoke, sharing ideas for integrating the charity into the wedding, how they could create a space for guests to contribute. An easy dialogue flowed between them, weaving in laughter, shared glances, and, surprisingly, a comfortable camaraderie. Yet, as the sun dipped lower and shadows pooled around their table, Claire felt the weight of the excitement shift to a more delicate space. "Mom," she hesitated, "there's more I need you to understand. This wedding, it may not look like what you wanted for me. I'm not just marrying John, I'm marrying who I've become." Her mother fell silent. The air between them felt thick, heavy with the unsaid. Claire's heart pounded louder, that familiar knot returning as the fear of her mother's reaction crept back into view. Would this be where her acceptance ended, or would she embrace every part of Claire's journey? "I can see that," her mother finally replied. "But tradition, Claire, that's been the backbone for our family, and I worry." "Worry about what?" Claire pressed gently. "That this is too different? That it could push us away from each other?" A flicker of realization crossed her mother's face. "Yes. It terrifies me." Claire took a breath, letting the air settle between them. "But it could bring us closer if we let it. This is a chance for both of us to rewrite what those traditions look like." Her mother appeared to contemplate, the vulnerability shifting into something resembling a mix of fear but also anticipation. "So, what do you suggest?" "There's only one way to find out." Claire leaned forward, eyes shining. "Let us do this together. Embrace the new. Let us collaborate with the charity and talk about health and community engagement. This wedding can be a bridge, not a wall." The weight in the air was palpable, a tension coiled with potential. Could they push past the fear that had haunted them? Claire could almost feel her heartbeat sinking with her mother's. Would she take that leap too? Just then, Claire's phone buzzed on the table, breaking the silence. It was a message from John. How did it go? Do you need us? Claire exchanged a glance with her mother. In that moment, both understood that this was just the beginning, both of their journeys uncharted together. Let us figure out what comes next, her mother said quietly, a hint of warmth returning to her voice. As Claire stepped out into the fading light, she felt lighter, as if the storm had yet to arrive, but the clouds began to part. But deep inside, a stirring unease lingered. Would their newfound understanding withstand real challenges ahead? In the midst of new hope, she felt a stirring of fear. Would the changes they embraced tear them apart, or bring them closer? Would the world really accept this new vision? As Claire walked home, the evening air wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. She could still feel the momentum of her conversation with her mother. It had been a breakthrough, but was it enough? Doubt crept in, whispering fears about what lay ahead. As she moved through familiar streets, the distant sounds of laughter drifted from nearby houses, reminding her of another world, one where acceptance was granted without question. John's question replayed in her mind. Do you need us? It felt so simple yet loaded with significance. She realized how much she relied on him, how his presence grounded her. Lucky to have that kind of love, she thought. But there was also a deeper need, a connection to the larger community that sang out for her attention. Once home, Claire opened her laptop. The charity's website glowed like a beacon, filled with the smiling faces of the children they helped. Her fingers trembled slightly as she began to type out a message, detailing her ideas for integrating their mission into her wedding. But as she wrote, apprehension nudged at her thoughts. Would the committee embrace her unconventional vision? Would they listen? A soft knock broke the silence, and she looked up to see her father standing in the doorway. Hey, kiddo, he said, leaning against the frame with his arms crossed. How did it go? Better than I expected, Claire replied, offering a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She knew her father had always leaned more towards tradition. His presence felt comforting yet also restrained. Your mom is on board then? His brow furrowed with uncertainty, and Claire felt a pang in her chest. How would she explain the deeper complexities of what had transpired? Well, sort of, she began. She's willing to embrace some changes. I think we can integrate the charity into the wedding. The weight of her words hung in the air. It would mean reshaping not just the event but also challenging their family's long-held beliefs. Her father blinked, revealing a shadow of concern as he crossed his arms tighter. And what about the traditional aspects? You know those are important to her, to us. Dad, I understand that, but this is about who I am now. It's more about creating a meaningful experience than just going through the motions. Her own voice shook, an echo of the tension she felt earlier with her mother. He shifted, his gaze drifting to the floor. I know, it's just change is scary. Is it really? Or is it just what we're used to? Claire felt a fire ignite within her. What if instead of resisting, we embrace it? What if we recognize that supporting others can become part of our traditions? Her father lifted his gaze, intrigue sparking within the shadows of concern. That's a big leap, Claire. I know. But if we don't take steps forward, how can we expect anything to change? Silence enveloped them, thick and heavy, like a cloud before a storm. Finally, he nodded, slowly. All right. I'll talk to your mom. But you need to be ready for possible pushback. Whatever happens, I'll be ready, she said, feeling a surge of determination. Just then, her phone buzzed again, another message from John. Can we meet? We need to talk about the charity and wedding details. I think it's time to take action. The urgency of his message sent a thrill through her, a reminder that this journey was far from over. She realized how much was at stake. As she stood at the precipice of a new chapter, a mix of excitement and fear coursed through her veins. What would happen when they finally confronted the realities of it all? Would their dreams come crashing down, or could they rise triumphantly alongside the challenges? The answers felt just out of reach, taunting her with the promise of transformation. Claire couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change drastically. Would they meet the moment, or would they fall apart? The next morning, Claire woke up feeling both anxious and hopeful. After a restless night filled with swirling thoughts, she looked out her bedroom window and breathed in the crisp morning air. Today was important. Today was about action. She quickly dressed and grabbed her phone, her fingers racing over the screen as she confirmed a time to meet John. Their conversation the night before lingered in her mind, a reminder of their mutual commitment to not only their relationship but also to the greater good. Arriving at the small coffee shop where they agreed to meet, Claire was greeted by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and pastries. She spotted John at a table in the corner, his carefully styled hair and earnest expression drawing her in. As she approached, the warmth of his smile banished some of her lingering fears. "Hey. I hope I didn't make things too urgent last night," John said, standing to pull out a chair for her. "Not at all," Claire replied, settling in. "I was hoping we could dive into details. I feel like I'm ready to share my vision for the wedding." John leaned in, a spark of excitement lighting up his eyes. "That's great. I've been thinking a lot about it too. What if we brainstorm ideas that benefit the charity directly? We could channel the money saved from traditional expenses into their initiatives. A wedding that gives back feels powerful." A smile broke across Claire's face, relief washing over her. "Exactly. It's not just about us, it's about what we can do together." He nodded, picking up his coffee, and the two of them began to sketch ideas. They talked about everything from a donation in place of wedding favors to integrating an auction of items from local artists, with proceeds benefiting the children's charity. Each idea seemed to ignite more passion, fueling Claire's enthusiasm as she shared her vision, but then John paused, his brow furrowing slightly. "I know this is important to you," but he hesitated, as if weighing his words carefully. "What if our families don't understand? I know mine can be traditional." Her heart sank, but she felt the fire from last night reignite. "I know. But what if we approach them together? Maybe they'll surprise us." John studied her for a moment, then nodded. "You're right. We need to present a united front." Just then, Claire's phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, it was from her mother. "Can we talk about the wedding later? I have some ideas." The unexpected anxiety gripped Claire's chest. "I think she wants to weigh in on the traditional plans," she sighed, her earlier excitement dimming. "Maybe that's a good thing," John encouraged, his eyes filled with reassurance. "It opens up the conversation. Could be the perfect opportunity to show her what we're about to do." Her mind raced, the dichotomy of tradition and innovation swirling within her. Was she really ready to challenge her family again? Her hands trembled slightly. "I just want everyone to see this as something meaningful." "It will be," John soothed, his sincerity enveloping her like a warm hug. "I believe in you. We'll get through this together." Driven by newfound resolve, Claire replied to her mother, agreeing to the conversation. Deep down, she knew she had to stand firm, not just for her vision but for her own sense of identity. As they both finished their drinks, an electric charge hung in the air, a promise of changes and challenges yet to come. Outside the shop, the world bustled on, seemingly unaware of Claire's internal storm. What awaited her in that discussion with her mother? Would it be an understanding heart or a battle for her dreams? She could feel the climax of emotions approaching, the merging of love and tradition on the edge of breaking through a wall long constructed by expectations. With everything at stake, Claire wondered if today might change everything. Would they rise together in this new vision, or would the past shatter their hopes? The day had finally dawned. Claire stood before the mirror, her reflection slightly fogged from the steam of the shower. Today wasn't just about her wedding, it was about a new direction, redefining what love meant in her life. She wore a simple dress adorned with small flowers that seemed to whisper of growth and change. As she adjusted the fabric, she felt more grounded than ever. This wasn't just a celebration of her and John, it was a testament to everything they had fought for. The venue was modest yet beautiful, filled with wildflowers and a simple arch that echoed nature's elegance. Guests began arriving, their warm smiles mingling with whispers of excitement. This wasn't just any wedding, it was supposed to stitch together community and love in a way that honored both past values and future possibilities. John arrived, looking dapper yet relaxed. His laughter spread warmth throughout the room, and Claire felt her heart swell. She walked towards him, a spark igniting. The energy buzzed between them in a way that felt right. They exchanged quick vows, their eyes sparkling with love, but what truly trembled in the air was anticipation for the bigger picture. Just as they exchanged rings and promises, Claire glanced at the donations table, adorned with smiling faces of children from the charity. Hopeful dreams were on the line, lingering hopes held tightly by all present. "Mom, Dad," Claire called out, her voice steady against the chatter of guests. Her mother stepped forward, eyes wide with acceptance. It took weeks of heart-to-hearts, but Claire's perspective had blossomed in her mother's eyes, drawing her closer to this new vision. "I see it now, Claire. I see how beautiful this is," she said, her voice trembling. "Creating something different, something real and inclusive. I can finally let go of what I thought your wedding had to be." Ethan caught Claire's eye from across the lawn, giving her a thumbs up. Her heart warmed as she looked back at her mother, who seemed ready to embrace this transformative moment. "I'm grateful you could support this vision with me, Mom," she replied, feeling the weight of her mother's acceptance lift like a heavy fog. Just then, John broke through the circle of friends, clear passion in his eyes. "Everyone, I want to thank you for being here not just for today, but for contributing to something greater. Together, we can champion this cause." The crowd murmured in approval, their expressions echoing the transformative journey they had undertaken as a united front, fellow friends, family, co-workers, and the community they loved. As they moved toward the donation table, the energy shifted. Hearts opened, and hands grabbed pens to declare their commitment to help lives flourish beyond the beautiful day unfolding before them. As the ceremony concluded and laughter filled the air, Claire felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The storm that once threatened to dismantle their dreams began to dissolve under the warmth of acceptance and love. "Maybe this is what magic looks like," she whispered to John, her eyes shimmering. "Absolutely," he replied, a radiant smile lighting up his face. "We've changed the narrative here today." As guests began to mingle and celebrate the day, Claire noticed her mother's laughter ringing clear across the grass, her father's eyes shining with approval. It all deepened her sense of belonging. This journey, once cloaked in uncertainty, had transformed into a beautiful path leading them toward joy, love, and purpose. They had not just celebrated a wedding that day, they breathed life into what family could be, an evolving tapestry woven with understanding, compassion, and growth. Claire took a deep breath, embracing the moment. She recognized the fragility of change but also how deeply it could root in the heart a love that reached beyond themselves, creating ripples of hope. "Let us make this commitment last," she declared, as she raised her glass, prompting laughter from every corner of the gathering. And just like that, amidst the clinking of glasses and the cheers of family and friends, the love they cultivated that day surged forth in unyielding light, celebrating not just their union, but the greater purpose they inspired. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Claire realized change was indeed hard. But standing beside those she cherished, she felt empowered. Together they had forged a future, ready to leap into whatever came next with love, resilience, and a determined promise to continue making a difference. Feel the excitement of this journey and be part of something greater. Subscribe immediately to the channel and don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring tale. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to make a difference. Don't wait not even one more second to share.